Now comes one of the most exciting sessions. Having heard about Heineken's vision, we'll see how agentic AI addresses real-world procurement challenges. Damian Robillon from Heineken will pose actual business scenarios and questions, while Tejit Mithal demonstrates live solutions using our Merlin Agentic AI platform.
Thank you, Arthur, for the introduction. And Damien, it's great to have you with us today. Agentic AI brings a transformative approach to procurement, combining autonomous workflows, real-time decision making, and advanced AI capabilities. From catalog-based purchases to policy enforcement and autonomous sourcing, it is designed to adapt seamlessly to an organizational need while driving efficiency and compliance. Through this session, Damien, I look forward to hearing about the Heineken's key use cases and demonstrating in parallel how agentic AI can address them real time, giving our audience a clear view of its practical impact. So, Damien, let's dive in. What's the first use case you would like me to showcase today?
Thank you. So, let's imagine, for instance, that the site manager observes that the safety shoes of the maintenance team need urgent replacement to adhere to safety regulations. How does the system handle this request through catalog recommendation, ensuring compliance right from the start?
That's a great starting point. The catalog recommendations only include items that have been approved by the organization, that ensures company safety standards are followed from the very beginning. Now let's walk through a demo to show what the catalog purchase journey would look like in action. I'll just share my screen and we'll start off on this. So let's say we are looking for shoes. Now, at this stage, what the system does is it understands what the user wants to do. It understood the intent as a purchase or a buy intent, confirms from the user, keeping the user in the loop, and it then goes back to the system, understand what are the catalogs available, what the organizational policy is to purchase the items, and here it brings out the items that can be used for a particular need. These are all catalog items. I add few to the cart, and then we can simply do a review cart. This will say that these are the items that we are trying to get. I'll remove something that was earlier in the cart, and we can simply check out. So it's as simple as that. I conversationally say I'm looking for shoes, and I get guided to a place where I can select from a recommended set of items from the catalog. It takes me to the form where all the details are pre-filled. You can see Merlin has pre-filled all the details for the user. The item safety shoes has been added, and I can simply say I'm done. That's the simple setup for a business user to go in and say that we have submitted this requisition and we are done.
So now imagine the marketing team urgently needs branded promotional clothing for an event, but it is not listed in the catalog. How does agentic AI manage such non-catalog requests, from identifying the compliant suppliers to ensuring adherence to procurement policies and guiding approvals?
Absolutely, and this is the place where the maverick spend starts creeping it at times. So by identifying compliant suppliers and aligning with Heineken's procurement policy and its sustainability standards, the system helps guide the team through approvals, ensuring a smooth and efficient process. And if an item is not listed in the catalog or available, as you said in this use case, users are guided to make a non-catalog purchase. Let's have a look at how this works in the intake process. So let's say I want to purchase or buy, branded promotional materials for an event. So again, the system will take up that policy, guide the user to leverage catalogs, but we don't like at this stage, let's say, the items that have been recommended. So we want to order something that is non-catalog. So let's see the items that came up are the kind of umbrella, which is the closest match the system got for this need. This is not something that we want to take. So we say we want to order a non-catalog item. Here, you can view the policy that in this particular, now the policy that is going to be at the background is going to be pretty large. But in this case, what has happened is the policy has been distilled, and only the contextual information is being said. If you're not buying something that is from catalog, you can still buy or take a supplier that works. And we can simply now go in, create the PRs, select the item type. So all these forms also get pre-filled, to speed up the process. So let's say we have some of the items set up, and let's select the category. So let's say this is the category we want to take up for this item. We enter few more details, what we need from the requirements perspective. And this also, by the way, calls out that if we are doing something, non-standard or in Maverick setup, it will take, some extra time to this. But again, as we see, the time taken for this is minimal. The user is getting guided, and we can simply check out and do the same process again. The filter, the request details and everything is filled in, and it will take us simply to a PR creation, in this case non catalog item, but with a known supplier. So it took few additional details in the process to ensure that the compliance is there, and we can simply then submit the request. I think the supplier name details, few additional details for the suppliers are needed, so we will simply add them and go ahead with the process. Yeah, so now we simply add the requisite details and submit the purchase request and submit it. And there we go. The request that is in progress gets submitted as a requisition, and it's created successfully.
But so the procurement policies at Heineken are detailed and nuanced. For example, if the team is looking to source eco-friendly packaging materials, how does Agentic AI interpret these policies in real time to guide users through workflows like creating a contract request or sourcing event, for instance?
Great. So all the purchases that are made by intake are done within the compliance of Heineken policies. Any changes required in the policy can also be configured accordingly. It can be changed at an operating company level or at a location level. So let's see a non-catalog purchase with non-onboarded supplier, which will send us through a configured policy where a supplier will need to be contracted, and then the supplier request comes into play for onboarding, and then the purchase requisition is created. So I want to buy, let's say, eco-friendly packaging materials. Now, once we say this, again, the compliance or the policy nudges the user to select from catalog, and that's the first setup that comes in, because that's the fastest and the most compliant way to get the efficiency from the system. But we want to do an item which is not in catalog, and we also got a recommendation that we did not find any contracted vendors for this. So let's say we have an Eco Earth suppliers, that's our preferred supplier. Now, the system will go in and check whether this supplier is contracted or not. And the system comes up that, the vendor is not contracted. So you need to tell us what is the contract value that we are looking at. Let's say it's not going to be that expensive. It's lesser than $1 million. And we see immediately the steps the users will have to take up to get this purchase done. A contract request will be in order. Third party risk needs to be assessed, and then we can go with creating a PR. So once this is done, the system will understand the contract request, pre-fill that form for you. So it identified which are the contract request forms that we can take up, and it recommends that it fills up the request form for us, and then you submit that request to be taken up. Now what will happen? So meanwhile, we are getting that request form filled. As these items are getting processed, all the statuses will be notified to the user to catch up on the progress. So we already know the 3 steps that are to be followed. The first step is something that we are doing now. Once that is done, we'll get a notification and we will submit the rest. So we'll simply review the details that have been added, for the details that we entered. Since this is pre-filled, we have reviewed this. We will just go in and submit this request form, and your request is successfully submitted. So the user got a policy guidance, even in case it was a non-contracted and a non-catalog supplier, and there was no procurement team answering queries of which supplier to take up, is that supplier onboarded. All that is something that is guided by the system, and the user can directly go through this journey and know what to expect next.
Clear, Tejit. I have another one for you. So yeah, if a new supplier is recommended to provide fridges as a one-time point of sale material for a promotional campaign, how does the system evaluate the supplier's contract status, ensure compliance with procurement policy, and guide the user through the purchase process?
That's great, and I really like how the complexities are increasing, because for enterprises, there are certain complexities that are required to be handled right at the source to ensure compliance. So let's say the requester recommends a new supplier. System will first check whether the supplier is operational or not. If operational, the purchase can proceed through the same process as before. However, if the supplier is non-operational, the system guides the user through the steps to onboard the new suppliers. I want to buy fridges from MKS Electronics. Now, since the supplier is added, in the first instance, we will identify whether the supplier is contracted or not, and whether there are more setups. So, since the supplier is not contracted, these are the details. We could not find any catalog recommendations for you, and your vendor is not contracted. So it asks then what is the value that you are looking for the setup, and it then takes up that same route of how this is onboarded. Now this continuation kind of gets us to a previous flow, but in a much faster route, where the supplier was identified skipping these steps. So it gives a better user experience when the user does not have to go through all these steps. If they write all the requested details in the first setup, system will understand that complex requirement, break it down into all the entities, suppliers in this case, tag them, and find out the latest status. And at this stage, we can simply go in and do the contract request form submission, which is again the process of onboarding, a supplier that gets taken up. So I'll just, this form is pre-filled and submitted. So we'll just open the form like we did last time, and we can simply go ahead and submit. It also shows us the workflow, the approval flow that goes in, and I submit this process. So what would you like me to take up next, Damian?
So maybe a last one for you, Tejit. So yeah, in a scenario where a low value yet critical item, such as branded paper cups, for instance, for regional promotion event, needs to be sourced, how does the system autonomously identify approved suppliers, handle negotiation, and ensure compliance with procurement policy, while at the same time minimizing human intervention?
That's a great use case, because when you mention a low value item, it generally does not warrant the sourcing or the buying team's time, because it's low value, right? So the users at this stage would want to see negotiated quotes in the entire process, and that's where it gets interesting. Imagine you get negotiated quotes for these plastic cups which are branded, and you just select one of them rather than going through the entire process of creating an event, adding suppliers, soliciting bids from them, and then negotiating. You simply get negotiated bids that you can just simply award. Let's take up the use case that we are looking for branded cups for regional promotional events that are going to happen. Now the system again understands this. So yes, we are looking to purchase branded cups. It also is verifying the intent only in case the user has not specifically called out a purchase or buy. We have interpreted that it's a purchase decision, but keeping the human in the loop, we want to ensure that it's verified by the user. So we want let's say non-catalog item here because we are we don't see this. So I don't have a supplier that also comes in because I want this to be sourced. So now the system again goes back and says, okay, what is the policy? Now, in this case, the paths go very differently. For lesser than 25K, a tactical low value spend, it will go into an autonomous sourcing route and getting you the negotiated codes. If it is greater than 25K as per the policy, it will go to a team which will take care of these requirements because that's something that we'll want to take that up. So now it says you can proceed with non-catalog purchase. Merlin will initiate autonomous sourcing to secure the best quote for you. So we enter the basic details that are there and teacups, let's say. So it's taken up and we have the quantity that comes as 50, the UNM is eaches, and the price, let's say, I'll take some basic price on this and we submit the details. Now the system processes these details and it simply says, everything that you needed to provide is set and you can proceed to autonomous sourcing. Now this is where, the flow that will happen for this entire autonomous sourcing is shown to the user. What will happen for the sake of demoing this to our audience, what we have done is we have made all these agents as manual. They are not autonomous at this stage, but if they are set as autonomous, you can simply look at all the agents while they are being processed, but you don't need to. So I'll quickly show the configuration. This is where things get moved from autonomous to manual. We have set this for this demo as manual. The event will review the purchase prices if there have been previous purchases, if there's a market price available through Amazon Business or Mercatio, which are out of the box, and the online price if it is suggested by AI. We have filled in the details, and the next stage is to find suppliers. So the system will now go in and find out suppliers that are able to cater to it. Now, for a quick demo of this, I will add my email ID so that I can be demoing the items. So let's say, let me find out a supplier that I can do. So I'm just looking for my ID. Let's say if it is available or not. If it is not, I can create a new supplier and let's say it's paper cup company. Tejit. This is my email ID. By the way, this will all not needed to be filled, because the suppliers will already be onboarded. Just for the sake of this demo, we are taking few details that will go into the setup. So, and let's say this is done. So I add myself as a supplier in this. I select the paper cup company and I confirm that. So once we have done that, what is going to happen is I'm going to get the various inputs that are needed for this. So I'll just open my inbox for the same, and I'll bring out the email that's going to come for the bid collection. So in the buyer view, you can see that Papercom company is the single supplier. What I'll go in and see in my inbox, I'll fish out the invitation email that I have just received. So this is the email that we have received. We click on submit bids, and this takes us to the supplier bid submission. Now, what happens in this stage, right? We added the unit price. Let's say we say, uh, we want to give $5 as the price. So this is 250. And do you provide warranty? No, we don't need this. Quality cups as per standards. 12 days for branded, 6 days for generic. Just submit our bid. So this is where the first bid gets submitted by the user or the supplier for this bid. And so this is the only supplier that we had in the setup, and that supplier has entered a bid. So what we'll see is the quoted price, and now we can simply confirm this stage. Again, this will all be autonomous, but the bid gets confirmed and it moves to a negotiation stage. So when it moves to a negotiation stage, at this stage, what happens is we will see that there is a negotiation or a request to review the pricing that starts coming to the system. I already have received that email. This is the participation bid, what we did, and we want to look at the pricing that are coming in the setup. Now, supplier can review all the details that have been submitted in the system, and we see a message from the team that says, thanks for the bid on this branded cups. I appreciate the proposal, but I'm looking for something a bit more competitive. So supplier says, no, I've already given you a good price. This is the best offer that I have at this stage. And it goes back. We'll also see what all process is ongoing for the supplier. The invitation and the initiation has happened, and the negotiation is ongoing. So the supplier says this is the best offer. By the way, in parallel, what's going to happen? So let's go here. So I understand that you believe this is the best offer, but I need a more competitive price to make this deal work. And could you please reconsider and provide a better price? So the users goes in and says at this stage that I can supply this to you at, let's say, a 5% discount. And that's the best I can do. Meanwhile, this gets processed with the user, the buyer. The buyer details can also be reviewed, of all the things that are ongoing in the system, from the buyer's point of view. So that would also be available to view and interject in this setup. This is the same view that the supplier is taking up. So now there is a counter. Now, few things happened in this setup. When the supplier said that they can give a 5% discount, that is added as the current bid that we can take up. And, we thank the supplier for considering a discount, but there's a counter offer that comes through. So, now it is up to the supplier. If they take something, supplier is not in the mood. So they simply say, no, this is the best and final offer for you. So I don't system processes this input on behalf of the buyer. And again, we do not anticipate your buyers would go in and negotiate on an item which is so low value. So, the AI is helping, with the setup. And, no, so we are not entertaining any further requests in this setup. And we are just saying that, this is the best and final offer. So at this stage, when we go and view the negotiations that are on this stage, we are seeing that this is the best offer, the negotiated best bid, which is getting us a 5% saving. Now imagine looking at the entire flow, doing this across 20 or 40 vendors that supply branded paper cups to you. This negotiation can this is the money that is left on the table, not negotiated. And honestly, no one has the time for this. But if the maverick spend goes beyond a certain limit, it kind of takes us to a good amount of saving. So we say that we have the saving, and then negotiation phase is ended. I took only one supplier because I was running that setup, but it gives all the bids and gives a recommendation that this is our recommendation that you give an award to, and then it can get converted into a PR right here. or can be autonomously sent back to the system that this is the final setup. So essentially, this takes care of your entire journey where we are trying to get a negotiated price for an initial customer requirement, ensuring compliance.
Super clear, Tejit.
Great. I think we covered a lot of ground here, and I hope some of these use cases and inputs were able to cater to the requirements. We're working very closely with partners as well. So this is the impact that Agentic AI brings, and we truly believe this is the capability that will help ensure an enterprise like Heineken to attain compliance to their procurement policies and derive efficiencies out of them.
Super glad to see Tejit, or what basically agentic AI can bring to a procurement team and procurement processes overall. And thanks to have go through a real life example, because it's nice to have a tool that is let's say saying that it can solve everything, but it's much better to get some let's say real life example to go through, that everybody can understand the power of this new
Absolutely.
AI agentic. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you so much for taking out the time and driving this. It makes it much more real for us, for Heineken, and for our audience to see how this goes through. Thanks, Damian.
Very good. Thank you, Tejit.
Thank you.
That was a powerful demonstration of how agentic AI tackles real procurement challenges. And for those inspired by these capabilities, you'll all get hands-on experience in our demo pods after the main session. Now, I'm seeing great engagement in the chat. Remember, every interaction earns you points, from poll participation to resource downloads. And for our next-gen procurement leaders, don't forget to secure your spot at Horizon Southeast Asia, coming to the Lexus Hibiscus in Port Dickson, Malaysia, this April 23rd and 24th.